Welcome to this ISV Talk special edition. Today I have Bob McAdam from Taslet. Welcome, Bob.
Thanks, Carol. It's great to be back on ISV Talks with you.
I know you're getting to be a regular.
Hey, I know. That's good.
Yeah, so today we're here doing a recap. We just last week attended the AI Business Solution Partner Executive Summit, still too long, guys, event in Seattle, Washington. And Bob, first, why don't you introduce yourself? I said before we get on, who doesn't know Bob, but let's introduce yourself.
Okay. Bob McAdam, Head of Strategic Partnerships at Tasklet, which is best-in-class mobile warehouse management for Dynamics 365 and their on-premises predecessors.
Perfect. This year, we both attended the AI Business Solution Partner Executive Summit, formerly known as the SAPS
That
Partner Summit.
right?
I think a lot of people still calling it that.
Yeah, it's convenient. It rolls off the tongue better. You're
It
right.
rolls off the tongue. Yeah, I know. Maybe they get short just the Partner Executive Summit, PES.
Yeah, or you got to have AI in there. You got to have that first, right? AI first.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how you fit that in. AI. I don't know. Maybe I can shuffle it around and come up with a better acronym that we could use. Yeah. So this year it was held. Do you want to go through the details where it was held? How many people attended?
Sure. So this is the third time that John Seifert and Company have held this event. They started it in 2024. They got about 300 people at the Hilton in Bellevue, but this year they couldn't go back to the Hilton in Bellevue, so they ended up at the Hyatt Regency on Lake Washington. I mean, you walked out the back doors and there's Lake Washington, and
Sure.
what a beautiful scene. It was great. The weather was perfect and low humidity. We Floridians, we appreciated a few days of low humidity. So, back in the old days, Microsoft had Inspire. They would kick off the new fiscal year with partners coming in from all over the world. And then, like the old convergence, they just discontinued that event, and that was it. So John Seifert, being a smart guy, says, hey, we'll gather near the mothership in Redmond, and we'll get Microsoft to come out to talk to partners and ISVs as the new fiscal year kicks off, because everybody's had a little time off for Independence Day and whatnot, and it's time to start gearing up for a new fiscal year with Microsoft and talking about some of the things that they want to implement and some of the changes that they've made and whatnot. So they had their highest attendance ever, what, 450 or so
Yeah,
at
that's what
Lake
I heard.
Washington, right? And highest number of sponsors ever. And the
Mhm.
hotel fits everybody. So it was a nice event. It's a long trip for we East Coasters for just a 3-day visit, but it was still good.
Yeah.
I think a formal sales kickoff with partners only and not end users is helpful.
Yeah.
And that's why I
It
did.
is. Yeah, yeah, this is the third year that both of us have attended, the third year that
Mhm.
Dynamics Communities has hosted this.
Yeah.
Co-hosted now by with Microsoft, of course. They're kind of the key speakers and
Yeah.
content for those conferences. Like you said, what's new in the fiscal year, new incentives, new priorities. So it's always good to hear from Microsoft directly. So good timing at the
Yeah.
end of July this year. Maybe next year I heard they might move that out
Yeah.
to
Just a little,
early
but a little
August.
bit. Yep.
Next year, same location. Actually, I heard some people didn't get rooms in the Hyatt, and I think they
The
had
Seahawks.
Seahawks.
The Seahawks were there and
Yeah,
getting
so
ready to defend their Super Bowl championship. So they were
that's right.
at the hotel.
There were some big guys, I tell
Yeah.
you, walking around the hotel. But yeah, I mean, that location in the Lake Washington, there's Boeing on one side, so we can literally look one direction, see Boeing, and they're
Hmm.
working on planes there. And then just a few minutes down the road is the Seahawks training center. So it's a good location for Seahawks training. They're bringing in probably their new players and so forth. So, but it was a great location. I mean, it was the bomb, I have to
Yeah.
say. And
Very
next
nice.
year, I want to see a party tour. Like take boats out with the tour Lake Washington and come back.
Yeah.
So you could rent boats, and some people got there early enough. They did that there from the pier or next to the hotel. But paddleboarding and
Mhm.
pickleball on Lake Washington. I never seen a
Right.
pickleball.
Literally. Yeah. Floating court on Lake Washington. Yeah.
And of course, you have to have a net because the pickleball does not stay inside of the little floaty thing. So your
Right.
people are out there
Fishing it
cheering.
out so they can keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. They had fire pits that you could go kind of hang out, and they had in the little packages of s'mores you could get. So it's a really kind of the Seattle vibe. It was really cool. The other thing was this was Seafair weekend, which former Seattleite that I am, it was very fun to be there and see the Blue Angels, the US Navy Blue Angels are always fun to watch. And they were there while we were
Mhm.
having our conference. So we had a little bit of that boom sound as the
Yeah.
jetted across did flybys. So
Those
awesome.
jets are loud, and you could be in the hotel and hear them going by, and by the time you come outside, they've long since gone past.
It's already gone by, but yeah, that was really exciting. Probably next year it won't be during Seafair. Seafair has those hydroplane races this last weekend, so the entertainment Blue Angels and others. I actually saw a trick plane also practicing out there with a little smoke, and they were doing the
Mhm.
dives and everything. So anyway, pretty fun.
Yeah, it
So
was great to be there.
anyway, yeah, location's good. Yeah, like, we approve that location. It's a little further if you're going back to the mothership. As you said, Microsoft is probably a 20-minute Uber ride, wouldn't you
Yeah,
say? So, downtown Bellevue is more convenient and a lot more
agreed.
to do in downtown Bellevue. All right, well, Bob, so what are your thoughts this year with AI business solutions? Where are we at a year later? Last year, the kind of the big shocker was somebody that was hosting one of the panels said, "Hey, if you're not in AI, you won't be here in the next 12 months, 18 months." I was
Yeah,
like, "Okay, so now we're here a year later. He's not here, and what progress have we made?" So, what are your
yeah.
thoughts about that?
Well, to me, there were a lot of things that were have changed, right? Uh, a year ago, it was just like you said, we're gonna we're gonna get on top of this quick, otherwise we won't be in this business. This year, it's more like they're asking some of the larger partners, how are you dealing with all these changes in AI coming out so quickly, and how is it affecting your business, and
Yeah.
how is it affecting outcomes, and how are customers asking you good questions, right? Because if you ask me, while partners have been inundated by Microsoft to get on board with AI and
Yeah.
practices, as of yesterday, customers are also hearing about it. Customers are seeing AI applications in real life at home on their phones and whatnot. So they're asking better questions about how it can affect their business, right? How can
Mhm.
I take all this stuff that you people keep mentioning to me and keep talking about
Yeah.
and make it work for me at my business so I can be more efficient, or maybe move some of my really good users around and put them on different responsibilities and take some of these monotonous tasks away and let AI agents do them. So
Mhm.
it was a good discussion. My favorite discussion is the big panel that they have at the end of the first day.
Yeah.
They've got some of the
Yeah.
largest resellers in our space, right? RSM, Alithia, Velocio. They got some of the big ones in there because Microsoft is hounding these people to get out front so that the other reseller firms will see what they're doing and follow along. And that panel this year they snuck a few ISVs in there,
Yeah.
Truvio and Binary Stream Lock was up there, and they mixed it up nicely. So that's a good panel. And Mike Gillis had a really good comment. He's like, we're looking at outcome. We want to be an outcome based firm, which reminded me of the people that have tried to slay the timesheet and billable hours the past 10 or
Right.
so
Let's get rid
years,
of
right?
T&M, right?
Yep. It's like, are we delivering value? Are we
Mhm.
delivering an outcome with AI that the customer is looking for, right? And if we do that and they're seeing
Yeah.
that improvement every month, that could
Yeah.
be a recurring revenue resource, right? Hey, we fixed this problem that you told us you had, and now you're
Yeah.
going to see improvements on your bottom line
Yeah.
each month, so we're going to bill you for the value, and you're not going to complain because you're getting so much value out of our
Right?
AI based
Yeah.
solution, right?
Savings or revenue improvement. I guess I struggle with I love the idea of, like, let get billed, based on outcomes or providing value, right? That
Yep.
totally makes sense. And what client wouldn't say, "Yeah, go build it, and I'll pay you if you succeed," right? Like, what client wouldn't say that, right?
Yeah.
But because of our and a business that's based on professional services, and as you know, professional services, kind of your major metric is utilization and hours and tracking hours and
Yeah.
making sure you're maximizing your team's time to an outcome
Billability.
based, kind of commission based. How do you? how do you yeah, how do you run a
Yeah.
business on that? What I kinda like the idea though of maybe doing that proof of concept, all right? So, I've got this I do a discovery with a client, I find an area that, "Hey, if we made this process work 10 times, or scale it up to 20 times and you get us extra savings of dollar amount of X, then
Right.
we'll, once we solve that, you pay us a percentage for the
Hmm.
next, whatever." I like
Yeah.
that idea. Let's do a proof of concept of how we can save you money and how we
Right.
can provide an outcome. And I love that. I love that idea. But and if you change your entire business from utilization, time and material, timesheets,
Right.
I
To
don't know.
that, the logistical changes inside a reseller firm are huge. They're going to have to change
I know.
not only the process, but everybody's mindset at the same
Yeah.
time and make money, right? They're all trying, a lot of these firms are owned by PE firms and they're
Yeah.
expecting growth
Well,
every year.
yeah. Okay. So predictable growth. Let's just say that. Like, how do you
Yeah.
predict based on kind of a commission based outcome business, right? Like,
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
And with
I
AI
think they need to
changing
have
so
something
fast.
trailing that they can measure, and then maybe they can grow that into their more permanent revenue model. I just don't know.
Right.
Interesting concept. I do think one thing I did hear is there was kind of a transition from last year was like, be AI first, right? Be a frontier firm, right? And
Hmm.
there's still that talk, but now I feel like we moved in how do we practically implement and use AI for customers? And I did hear that customers are asking, well, what are you doing with AI? Right. And it
Yeah.
did seem like a likely response from the partners would be, oh, we're doing AI. We could do an AI workshop or a readiness assessment or
Mhm.
a technology workshop, and we can bring in Microsoft dollars and expertise. I think people are still kind of in that let's do a discovery, right?
Right.
And see how we can use AI in your business or organization. So that was the and you're right, they did have in that big panel a couple of the ISVs. Truvio, which is now rebranded from several different ISVs that are well known in the Dynamics channel, and then Binary Stream. And Locke, is it Shahel? He said, "Yeah, I think ISVs are in a fight for survival because some of the things that we're filling those gaps using a ISV could be maybe an AI solution," right? Very interesting.
That's
And
kind of a scary concept, isn't it?
like, yeah.
You know?
Well, and did you not, Bob, see some new words from Microsoft
Yeah.
on what were some of those new things that new concepts that they talked about?
Well, they're talking a lot about co-work, right? It's not just Copilot or
Yeah.
Copilot Studio, it's
Yeah.
co-work. And
Yeah.
that's an interesting concept. I do think there's going to take some time for everybody to kind of figure out what Microsoft's trying to get across with that.
Yeah, and that's a lot of working within the organization, providing plugin connectors, using
Yeah.
MCP server. So you got that security built around your data and your processes. So there's a lot of maturing, I guess I would call it. And
Mhm.
so understanding what co-work is. The other thing, kind of along with just in general, is understanding and having to help customers understand when you're using AI, there is the way that you pay for it is on a token basis, right? So if you say,
Right.
well, I'm going to use 500 tokens this month, well, that could get used up pretty quickly, right? With some of
Mhm.
these solutions or people experimenting, even the partners. Well, I think Mike Gillis from RSM said, "Oops," after like, "Hey, everybody, go out and use this. We've got this now." And then a month later, they had to pull it back, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Too
we
pricey.
can't
Yeah.
afford that. That's pricey." Yeah. A thing that might be kind of token optimization, I think is what he called it, might need to be investigated. Make sure that clients and Microsoft too can help understand how they can kind of optimize the tokens that they're using around AI. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it seemed like they highlighted some new firms. Maybe I don't know if they're outside the Dynamics channel, but like they had Lovable
Hmm.
as a sponsor and on stage. What were your thoughts about that?
Well, I think Lovable, that's Olaf's company, right? And he was part of the Truvio mix, if I'm not mistaken. So he set up a new firm and he's working with his old pals on, and they had was it a demonstration or an opportunity to have a panel together on that final afternoon.
Yeah, I just sat in that, session with Trivia and Lovable, and if you don't know what Lovable is, I didn't. I got really
I didn't
excited
either.
because I met them first time, but I guess it's not a new thing. But, you don't have to have AI technical knowledge to code in AI. You use basically that term vibe coding. So you're talking to Lovable in just plain English, and it creates and builds an application, and yeah, go out to YouTube and watch some lovable reviews because I was like blown away. I was like, he talked about Olaf talked about like a nurse solved a problem for a
Mhm.
hospital where they needed to bill patients and they wanted to send the notes along with that bill. And it
Right.
integrated two different systems, right? Their billing system and then their notes that are in the kind of HIPAA protected environment and their
Right.
medical record. So anyway, yeah, some really cool things that are coming of that, or you want to build a website.
All this vibe coding, though, it sounds really hip and cool, but
Okay.
it's frightening at the same time because
Yeah, what is
the
that?
governance topic doesn't always come up, and
Governance.
AI
Yeah.
is very capable of doing things and integrating the things, and we got to make sure that certain data doesn't make its way, into a large language model. And it's just, privately held
Yeah.
companies are privately held companies.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, Lovable had a quote from CEO that he said, I love Lovable, and they use it in their organization. And
Okay.
Microsoft, actually, I saw a chart at that breakout session that Microsoft has the highest number of, I don't know if they call it tokens, but the
Hmm.
highest usage is actually Microsoft. They're their largest customer.
Okay.
So,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, so that was kind of fun to meet them. The other thing is, and I don't know if you noticed this, is I met a lot of more international people. So we had
Right.
people from Ireland and the UK and Australia. So what did you see that too? As far as like it does seem to be now pulling some global
Yeah. Yeah,
Quebec.
I
I
did.
saw some people from
And
Quebec.
back in the old Inspire days, you had partners from all over the world coming to
Yeah.
Seattle or Las Vegas. So they probably just needed a couple of years for this event to get its feet wet and then come. But that's good. I think international partners want to listen to Microsoft, want to work with North American partners and have an event
Yeah.
where it's just them and their peers. So I'm
Yeah.
glad to see
Kind of
that.
the breakdown of attendees, again, no users, so it was about 35% ISVs,
Right.
12% Microsoft attendees, and then 53% was really the VARs slash consultants slash service providers.
Yeah.
So,
All
yeah.
the system integrators and whatnot. Yeah, they're the ones that are the main audience for this, but I still like the ISV component. There's ISVs in the sponsor area. We're curious too. What's Microsoft got to say? What are they telling the reseller partners? How does that trickle down to the ISV level? We want to hear it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and one thing, and just the other part of going to these conferences is just listening to what partners are saying or just anybody, right? The speakers and so forth, of course, on stage, but just having those conversations in the hallway. I definitely picked up on some things, like Microsoft itself is having a hard time keeping up with their engineering changes, right? So they have
Mhm.
outsourced the preparation of materials for the training and so forth internally. So partners are having a hard time, Microsoft itself is,
Yeah.
trying to keep up with their velocity, of
Mhm.
how fast things are changing.
It's exciting, but it's coming. It's rolling along very quickly. So keeping up with it is not easy to do.
No, right? And where are we going to be at a year from now at this conference?
Right.
It'll be interesting, but I do see overall some progress, right?
Right.
That
But
partners
you're
are
right.
actually working with AI, with Copilot,
Mhm.
trying to help solve customer problems, which is what we always do, right?
Yeah.
We-
And a year from now, all the things that we're talking about on a recap like this will be 100% different than what we're doing now. It's moving that quickly, and everyone's trying to keep up, including the publisher.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Things are moving. And there's a lot of probably pressures, right? With other AI being public as well as other ERP publishers, right? They're
Yeah. Everybody's
AI.
in a race to be first,
They
right?
are.
All these
Hmm.
all these publishers, big and small, are working overtime to bring AI into their ERP and make it work for their
Yeah,
end users or prospects because that's a big selling point.
exactly. Yeah, I think you and I saw that at Acumatica Summit earlier this
Right.
year. They had their rollout plan for the next 2, 3 years. So yeah, they're definitely thoughtful about it as well. So,
Mhm.
and the other interesting thing, which we didn't touch on, is even at partners, I met like people that were head of VP, VP of AI at partners,
Right.
and
Yeah. A
like
new
they're
practice in the
a
firm.
new
Yeah.
practice. Exactly, exactly. And there are plenty of service firms to help
Hmm.
provide those AI workshops or AI development while partners are ramping up. So there
Yeah.
seem like a lot of service providers are coming in and going, "Hey, we can help you while you're getting your team up to speed." So that's good.
Tons of new possibilities and opportunities, no doubt.
Yeah, very exciting. So next year, back at the Hyatt Regency, Lake Washington in Renton, Washington,
All
aka
right.
Seattle. So if you haven't already, look at reserving. What's the dates again, Bob?
August 3rd and 4th,
Oh
and the
yeah.
website is bizapps.summitna.com. So
Ah,
probably
okay.
another 36-hour immersion. It's a Monday, Tuesday, so there'll probably be a
Mm,
cocktail party if you fly in on Sunday from as far away as I do. And then Monday all day long from breakfast through dinner. And
mhm.
then Tuesday breakfast through like
Yeah,
mid-afternoon and then fly
yeah.
home. Like it's a
Ah,
lot in a short period of time.
it is. Actually, I heard that it might actually be a full 48 hours, so we'll
Oh,
see.
really? Okay. 2 full days. Okay,
Yeah,
good. That's
2
good.
full days. Yeah, we went from 24-hour immersion to this year
36,
36. So next year
48.
likely 48 hours. So
Okay.
plan 2 full
Well,
days.
good. Hey, if the weather's as good as it was last
I
week,
know,
I won't mind. And the Seahawks won't
right?
be running around, taking up all the room and eating all the food. So,
Right?
we'll get our shot in there.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have the hotel to ourselves, which will be nice.
Yeah, it is a very nice hotel and a very nice location, no question.
Okay. All right, Bob. Well, thanks again for joining me on this episode of ISV Talks. And you're always welcome back. And we'll see you next Dynamics Community Summit in Nashville. I almost
Yeah,
said Orlando, in Nashville,
that's
Tennessee.
that's right. Bring your hat and your boots, and we'll see you in
Oh,
mid-October
yeah.
for a summit. It's going to be first time in 9 years in Nashville. And it's only been there once before, and if you recall, it was quite entertaining and fun. So it's a summit event people do not want to miss in this channel.
Yeah, agree. We'll see you there.
Okay, see
Anyway,
you there. Thanks again, Carol.
thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Well.